What's going on, everybody? It's your girl, it's Hattie, and you're watching Ladies in the Locker Room. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. This is our first show in August of 2022, and we've got a great show lined up for you tonight. I've got two special guests, and we are going to deep dive into some topics. We're going to talk about some sports news and some highlights of sports, and we're just going to get into it. We're going to argue about some things. We're going to agree on some things. But I think at the end of the day, you'll be entertained at whatever we do. All right. So first of all, I want to tell you a little bit about my two guests. They're both sports enthusiasts. I have Mr. Oscar Jones of Douglasville, Georgia, and Mr. Damien Green of California. These are two sports fans, and you guys have probably heard me talk to Oscar before because he likes to chime in when Ladies in the Locker Room is on. Well, this time I've got him in the hot seat. Oscar's going to be on the show talking with us and to you about sports and everything sports. So sit back, relax. We're going to go to our first commercial and we'll be right back.
Hello guys, my name is Gloria. I am an instructor at LA Fitness Atlantic Station. I teach Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and on Saturdays we hike. We go to a different location. Our classes are 5:45 at Atlantic Station. There's kickboxing, there's body work, there's power circuit, everything you can imagine, and then we hike. We hike Kennesaw, Stone Mountain, the Palisades. We go everywhere. Come out and join us. Find out what your mission is and have fun while you do it. You can find me on Facebook, Gloria Jackson, and I want you to have fun while you get fit. Come join me.
That's my girl, Miss Gloria Sunshine Jackson. I put the sunshine in there because, as you can see, she's got that big, bright smile. But I want to tell everybody, if you're really serious about getting fit, really serious about working out, you need to go check out Miss Gloria Sunshine Jackson over there at LA Fitness at Atlantic Station. And trust me, bring a towel because you're going to sweat. Bring some water because you're going to need to hydrate because Miss Gloria really works you out. All right, first thing I'm going to talk about today is around town. Let's talk about what's going on around town. First up is my Atlanta Falcons. Let's talk about the Falcons. Of course, we know the Falcons started training camp this week. The Falcons, of course, we had our rookie, Drake London. He was our number one pick. I'm looking for some good things out of Drake, and from what I'm hearing, he's making a solid impression at training camp. I plan on getting up to training camp this week to see for myself. And for all my other Falcon fans out there, my Falcon fans and my fair weather Falcon friends, this is the beginning of the season, and I want to hear from you guys, and I want to know what your thoughts are. How do you think your Falcons are going to do this year? And we're going to talk about that. Next up, we're going to talk about, of course, with our Falcons. Last year, we had one man. We had that running back. We had Cordell. There he is. There's my man, Drake. Good looking kid. And like I said, they're saying that he's really making a statement already. Next up, we're talking about my Atlanta Dream. The Atlanta Dream, they're off to a decent start. I'm not talking to you, Siri. Cancel. I'm not talking to you. My Atlanta Dream, they're 12 and 18. If you haven't had a chance to get out and see an Atlanta Dream game, you've got to go. Those young ladies are always balling. It is a different experience than the NFL. And believe it or not, it's more entertaining because they do more to entertain you. And I know that you may not understand that, but go to a game. And if you know a little girl who plays basketball or an old girl who used to play basketball like myself, take her out to see the WNBA and see our Atlanta Dream. The girls are really balling, and it's really awesome to see. I had a good time when I went. I went back to my Falcons. I didn't mean to go back to my Falcons. I got to let this ride on out here. And as I said, my Atlanta Dream. If you haven't had a chance to get out to a Dream game, there's my man Drake. It says Drake was one of those kids you knew was just gonna be different. And this is my Atlanta dream, and this is a new logo I'm seeing here. I don't, I think this logo. I don't know if they had it last year, but I think it's a new logo. And also, let's talk about the Braves, our Bravos. They're 62-41 right now with a PCT of 602. The Bravos, you know, they won it last year. So everybody's going to be looking at them to come back this year and pull it back together. And we're going to be watching as well. I didn't talk anything about our Hawks yet. Summer, the NBA had their summer games. I didn't hear a whole lot from the Hawks. And I've got to find out what's going on from you and you know, my fans, Atlanta Falcons fans, Atlanta Hawks fans. Tell me what's going on with your Hawks this year. Well, I know a lot of trades are happening, you know, in the offseason. The NBA has been off the chain with all of these trades. So it'll be interesting to see what our Hawks do this year. Um, I'm hearing all kind of rumors. I'm waiting to hear from you guys. You guys have got to tell me what's going on. So we're going to go to our next commercial break. And then next up, we'll be bringing in our special guest. We'll be right back. All right. Every time I see that commercial, I get hungry. That food looks so good. That's a friend of mine with a seafood company out in Texas. And they're always threatening to come to Georgia or come to the A, but they say we got too many seafood companies, so they haven't come yet. But we'll see what happens. Look, I may have to go to Texas and try it out. It really good, looks good. And I also want to tell you guys, all the music that you're hearing comes from none other than Rayvon the Don, and that's my son Rayvon. He's the producer and he produces music and tracks for me for movies and also for Ladies in the Locker Room. Well, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Are you set? It's time for my special guest. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to bringing in these guys. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome uh, my special guest, Mr. I want to give you all a bigger picture than that. Let's see what we got here. There we go. I've got Damien and I've got Oscar. What's going on, guys? Oh, you know what? I did mute y'all, so you didn't interrupt my stuff. So let's unmute you. There you are. There you
Oh.
are.
That's better.
Yeah. Yes. That's much better. So, guys,
Mm.
first of all, first and foremost, thank you so much for joining me on Ladies in the Locker Room. I'm very excited to have you guys here because it's always good to talk to some sports enthusiasts and to cover some of the issues and some of the not just issues, but some of the exciting things going on in the league and some of the, you know, just things that we need to talk about. All right. So let's get started. All right. So on the top of our things to talk about is none other than prime time himself. We're going to talk about Mr. Deion Sanders, or should I say Coach Sanders. Guys, what's going on with Deion Sanders? Tell me about it. Oscar, we'll start with you.
All right. Well, I mean, Coach Prime. I'm sure that the name like evolved from his playing days. You know, he
Hmm.
nicknamed himself Prime Time. Every time he touched the ball, it's Prime Time, et cetera, et cetera.
Hmm.
But who'd have thunk 20, 25 years later, actually close to 30 years later, that he is like living and walking out Prime Time. And
Hmm.
Prime Time is following him. Usually you're talking between 8 and 11 o'clock Eastern. Anytime Coach Prime is on TV, it's Prime Time.
It's
This
prime
is
time.
the type, I mean, when, if ever, in the history of black college football, let alone college football sports, Nick Saban, arguably the greatest D1 college football of all time, coach of all time.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Aflac, probably one of the biggest advertisers on college football Saturdays. They
Hmm.
pick and say, "We got Nick Saban in camp. We need Coach Prime."
All right.
Say what? You know,
All
it's like,
right.
who do you need to second Nick Saban? Coach Prime. That right there, his market stature alone is going to boost like the profile of college football in general. It was a
And
good product
and this is
for the
only his
people who
second
had it.
season, right?
I think this will be going into his third.
Going into the third. I know he's pretty
Yeah,
new
but
at this.
still,
Okay.
everything that he does gets watched. Everything that Nick Saban does gets watched
Right.
for a multi-million, triple-figure $1 million program going on. Coach Prime, he's financing that thing out of his pockets, and people are tuning in to see. And he stole a couple of recruits, but then still, they chose. And I'll stop there. I could say why they chose there, and it makes sense, but
Man.
I'm gonna leave some meat on the bone.
No. All right. Anything? You got anything, Damien?
Oh, not too much on the prime time. I'm with Oscar. Every word he said.
Everything.
Listen.
I mean, you
Everything he
just think
said.
about it. It would make sense if he didn't have a TV career and you said, um, I want to go and sit up under the tutelage of one of the great defensive backs of all time. Great defensive back, great special teams player, impact player, multi-sport athlete, and somebody who knows what to do post football with his money. I want to sit under that guy's tutelage, let alone if he wasn't a media personality. Stack that with him being a media personality, and you want Coach Prime sitting in your living room. Just as much as you want Nick Saban, you want Coach Prime in your living room. It used to be a foregone conclusion that somebody like a Derrick Henry in a podunk town in Florida, Nick
Hmm.
Saban shows up, you're going. Not anymore. Coach Prime can show
Prime
up,
time. That's right.
and he doesn't have a tenth of the budget. This could
Not,
change things.
not
And
enough.
all you need is about three or four other colleges of that ilk to follow suit,
Yes.
and you have some competition on Saturdays at 3:30. You
I'm
know
ready
that
for it.
that that game that you're watching, Florida Vanderbilt, that
I'm
you're
ready
just
for it.
watching just because it's SEC, and Coach
Hmm.
Prime is on another network.
You
Uh
gonna watch Coach
oh,
Prime?
uh oh.
Listen, I'm ready for it, and what I like to say is that he lives up to his name, Prime
He
Time.
does.
And I'm not sure they knew exactly what they was getting, and maybe they did, but I love the fact that he lives up to his name and he brought that energy. And now looking like what you're saying is he's bringing the what I call the big energy. It's what I call Shaq big energy. But he's bringing that big energy not just to his team, but to the whole league of the collegiate organization. And I love seeing that.
To your point, I think it's if you ever watched that movie Troy,
Yes.
when they talked about bringing Achilles and the Myrmidons into battle, and King Agamemnon was like, he's likely to kill me rather than fight for me.
Right.
And he says, you don't have to worry about controlling him. You just need to unleash him. When they brought Deion Sanders on, they had to know they couldn't control him, but they had to know that the effect of the storm that would be Hurricane Prime Time,
That's right.
unleash him. And
That's what
that's
I
what they've done. They've unleashed him on the college football world.
You know what? And I'm loving every moment of it.
Yeah,
I
me too.
enjoyed him as a player, and I'm thoroughly enjoying him as a coach. And I believe that as a player and the stature of player that he was, I just feel like he can't do anything but help those boys. Help.
Absolutely. And he bought them all suits.
Yeah,
I mean, just right there, he said, and not just like, you don't have just a good suit. You got a prime time
that's
suit.
right. That's
He's
right. He
he's
goes.
he's got that same
He,
cachet like Oprah giving away cars.
you know what I'm saying? But he also said, "I can't be the only one getting off the bus looking good." I can hear Prime Time saying something like that. Hey, I can't be the
Absolutely.
only one getting off the bus looking good. Y'all need to be looking
Absolutely.
good too. I mean, I could just hear him say that.
I can
Uh,
see it.
but anyway, we will keep watching Deion Sanders this year, Prime Time, and I'm just excited. I'm excited for the school. I'm excited for the guys, and I'm excited for, like I said, what he's done for the league itself, for the collegiate football. All right, moving on to our next subject. Poor Brittany Griner, and I have to say, poor Brittany. Um, Trump recently made a statement saying that she was just a spoiled brat,
Hmm.
privileged, spoiled brat, and and a lot of people are saying that Trump sided with Russia. Well, hell, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cuss, but that ain't the first time Trump has sided with Russia. So
Nope.
if anybody's surprised about that, you've been missing a whole lot of stuff because it just ain't the first time that Trump and Putin have got together and made a mess out of things. So, what are you guys' thoughts about? First of all, let's talk about Brittany Griner and her case.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that whole situation?
Oh man, I'm in a crossroads with this situation because we as Americans, we tend to put our values upon other countries like they don't know what they're doing or
Hmm.
things of that nature.
Hmm.
While we here might not care that much about weed or weed products, marijuana products like that, California is
Hmm.
legal, Colorado is legal, it's legal everywhere. Russia
A
don't
lot of
think that
places.
way.
Right.
Russia has their own values and said that's illegal. We don't care if you. Brittany says she forgot. Okay, I believe you. Brittany says she uses
Hmm.
it for pain. I believe you. I
Hmm.
have no reason to call Brittany a liar at all. But she did break the law as far as
That's
Russia
right.
is
According to
concerned.
Russia's
As
concern.
far as
Yep.
Russia's concerned,
And
this ain't got
many other
nothing to do with the
countries.
United States laws. In many other
A-
countries.
And
Okay,
many other countries.
that's the part I have a problem with. Is that much as I would love to see her home, I'm not a big WNBA fan, but that's all right. I would like to see her home, but she kind of has to stand up and take her lumps because even though it was a mistake, I'll believe her on that. Russia has their laws. They, as far as I know today, it was close to being a verdict on her, but I think the defense threw another little wrench into the decision. So maybe we'll get a verdict tomorrow,
Mm.
um, and we'll see what happens. I think she's facing up to 10 years, I believe. Should she be
Up to.
convicted? Up to.
Up
So
to.
it could be
Hmm.
a year, whatever it is.
Right.
But
Right.
um, as far as um, our president, Joe Biden, making that deal to get her home, send some criminals their way. They send Brittany back. This is just a personal feeling. I throw it on over to Oscar. Like, if it was me caught with weed, I don't think anybody would care. Over in Russia, I don't care. But she has a name. She is a superstar. She's over there making that money in Russia because I guess, I don't want to, I hate to
The
say this,
du-
but I guess
because
women
the
don't exactly
WN
make that money.
no, they do not.
Yes.
And I had to
So,
tell somebody else. You got to look at it like this. And this is just the scenario. Let's just say she makes 150,000 in America and she makes $1 million in Russia,
exactly. Where are you
tax
going to go?
free.
Where are you going to
Yeah,
go? You know?
yeah. Now she
So,
plays in the WNBA because it is the WNBA.
mhm,
But let's go make that money. It's how a lot of these plays did.
sure.
She's not the only one, and I know a lot of them are now probably having a second thought in their mind, which is something
Sure.
I've always feared. My son has friends that play ball overseas, and I'm always worried about overseas laws and our American kids, not just the Brittany Grinders, but some of these young men who are over there playing ball overseas for the exact same reason they make that untaxable dollar over there.
Hmm.
And I'm always worried about their safety and about the laws of these other countries. Oscar, what are your thoughts?
Um, you already set the tone and said we shouldn't cuss. So I, anytime you bring up a former president 45, there's probably occasion. Um, he is the president that lowered the level of discourse
Yeah,
among world leaders.
yeah.
Uh, you remember when Vincente Fox went on Fox News and said there's no way that we're going to build that effing wall, and stuff like world leaders didn't talk like that before. Trump got in and started saying it's okay to knock the s out of somebody. And
Mm-hmm.
surely you got Lyndon Johnson in the White House with that saucy language, but those were on secret tapes that we
Right.
released like
It
40
wasn't
years
in
after
public.
he's dead. Right.
It wasn't in public, and
There
it wasn't
is
all over the news.
the thing called decorum is what he doesn't have. And right now, what he doesn't have is the office. He doesn't have the bully pulpit of the presidency. So the cuss words that I avoid, I call this the affinity code. YTFSIC. Why
Oh,
the F should I
okay.
care?
Okay.
Basically, so then the affinity code for Trump, Twitter, they won't even entertain his tweets anymore.
Hmm.
So, in so
And
much
they
as him
lock him
calling
out,
somebody spoiled, maybe she is, maybe she isn't.
and maybe
Should
he
she be
is.
locked up? Maybe she should, maybe she should. The thing is, I don't need to hear from Trump on this. Just
No,
take a big cup of
Yep.
shh
I
and go
agree.
now.
sit down.
For Brittany and for everybody else who has fame and cachet, it does work to your benefit in this case. I don't know if you guys know the rapper ASAP Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
When he was in trouble overseas,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't happen with us. You
Right.
know that they're not making that bargain for us. But if Kanye's your friend, if Kim Kardashian is Kanye's wife, and you're both friends with the president, then you could start making some moves, and Rocky gets to come home. Brittany has the cachet of the entire WNBA,
Mm-hmm.
um, the entire
NBA
And
and
the
the
NBA.
yes,
NBA
and the NBA,
and
Hmm.
right?
athletes around and American athletes around the country are
Yeah,
standing
and the
behind
and
her.
LBG, the alphabet
Yep.
community as
The
well.
alphabet community, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's like she's got a whole bunch of like levers of power to
Yes.
work. So she might get sentenced to make a point.
Yes.
It's
But
possible.
that's about it. And this won't be a matter of should she or shouldn't she. This
Yeah.
is just a matter of how far does Russia want to push it?
Mm-hmm.
How far does America want to allow it to be pushed?
Mm-hmm.
And that'll be that. But yeah, the one who shouldn't be at the table, Trump gets to go sit at the kids' table. This is not. No, we
Eat
don't
some
need to hear from him.
applesauce and
No.
be quiet.
Hmm.
Applesauce. See, I like applesauce, but yeah,
I
yeah.
do too. I do too. I do too.
Be
Okay.
clear, Trump would be an awesome guy at the party if he wasn't the president. It'd be really fun to have Trump at your party.
Okay.
He'd be a jerk about a lot of things, but you'd say, okay, well, somebody just go punch him in the face and the party will continue. You
And
just
that would
didn't
be the
need him
life of
as
the party right there, that punch.
right. Yeah, it'd be a reason to go there. Man, Trump finna start something, man. All right,
Oh,
come
he
on.
getting
Hmm.
ready to get punched
Oh
in the
yeah.
mouth.
Hmm.
Right. Yeah. And he talk sports and he get knocked out and it'd be all good. But
Yep.
him holding that office and the news going to seek what he has to say on things like this, yeah. We can I know it's
We
your
can do
show, but you
without it.
tell me when to move on.
We could do without it. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
I do, however, of course, like I said, I'm worried about all of our young African American
Yeah.
athletes from from America overseas playing ball. Not just
Hmm.
the Brittany Grinders, but all of them. The boys, the girls, they are our kids. And let me tell you something. My passport is expired after those people kept dying over in Punta Cana and
Right.
over there. I said, you know what? I'm gonna just take it to South Beach. I'm just if I need some palm trees and some beach water, I'm going to Florida, but I'm gonna keep it on the U.S. of A. Because let's be real, everybody from every country don't like us. They just want our money most of the time. So
That's
I'm
true.
gonna just stay home. I'm just gonna stay home. So I'm hoping it doesn't ruin it for other people, but I think it might. I really think it might. They're gonna learn that all money ain't good money. You could come over here and play ball all you want and get our money, but we ain't gotta let you have no kind of deals and breaks. Is now what these kids are gonna find out.
That is
You
a
know?
lesson of years. I think that is the problem. Uh, when you send those young millionaires overseas, they chasing the bag, and everybody tells them go chase the bag. I mean, we just said, you got a million over there, you got triple figures over here, go get the million. Well,
Mm-hmm.
certainly.
Yeah.
But George Clooney does the same thing. He goes and sells coffee overseas so he can take choice roles back in the States. He makes
Mm-hmm.
millions on top of millions over there and
Mm-hmm.
makes far less in the States.
Mm-hmm.
But he's much older. He moves different. A
And he's
young
not the only
person,
one. He's not the only one.
oh,
There
well,
are
that's what I'm saying. When you
many.
get older, you
Mm-hmm.
value other things like your liberty to
Mm-hmm.
the point where you will check your behavior
Mm-hmm.
versus when you're a young person and necessary. We need youthful energy.
Mm-hmm.
But you need, young people on the front line like, I should have the right to do this. But are you willing, to pay that price? I mean, we're
That's right.
talking Martin Luther King Jr., C.T. Vivian, Dr. Bernard Lafayette prices. Are you willing to pay
Don't
that
get
for
me
your freedom?
started on these young people would not have made it across the bridge. So
I know
uh,
people on them bridges who got a brick thrown at their head.
listen,
To this day, I talk to them every Sunday.
you see what I'm saying?
So,
But these young people, they would
oh,
not
I
have made it.
couldn't. And you see the grade. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm not
It's
about the front, but I
It's
mean,
a
bless them for being
whole
young.
nother thing, whole nother
Exactly.
Mhm.
situation. Well, anyway, guys, thank you for your input on that. Moving right on to our next topic, we have a little bit of sad news. We lost Bill Russell, and there's a conversation going around saying that, do we look at Bill Russell as the GOAT? Do you see him as a GOAT? Like the Tom Brady's, the Michael Jordans, the Kobe Bryants. Um, what are your thoughts, guys?
Damien's got to do it. This is a basketball thing.
Basketball thing.
Yeah.
When it doesn't matter where it is, the barbershop, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is, we have the conversation about the GOAT, who is the greatest player in the NBA. And the
Hmm.
two names that seem to have been going around since, I don't know, 2008, 2009, since LeBron
Kobe
joined
or
the league in
Michael?
2003. Nope,
Hmm.
LeBron, Mike, and then you might get a sprinkle of Kobe. You might get some
Okay.
Kareem, and then
Okay.
this legend that just passed away a few days ago. Seems to
Okay.
not be in the conversation enough for my taste, you know?
Mm.
Hmm.
So we have facts that Bill, he won himself 11 championships, 9 as a player, 2 as a player
Hmm.
coach.
Hmm.
He's got himself 5 MVPs. We look
Hmm.
at Mike. Mike has 6 rings and 5
Hmm.
MVPs. If we did simple math, it would be Bill is the GOAT, right? But then we
Hmm.
start getting arguments. Well, Bill only played against 10, 12 teams back in the 50s. It was easier. He played against plumbers and, firemen and all. And so the narrative changes to whoever you want the GOAT to be, basically. I think the GOAT is
Uh-huh.
just a subjective subject. If you
Hmm.
if you feel it's LeBron, that's cool. If you want it to be Kobe, you want it to be the Kareem, that's cool. So really, I don't know if there is a GOAT because nobody can seem to agree on a standard.
Who the
On
GOAT
what are the
is
qualifications
to
exactly?
be the GOAT?
You know, is it rings? Is it MVPs? Is it All Star MVPs? Is it scoring time? What constitutes a GOAT? But if I was to pick somebody, it would be Bill, not just because of what he did on the court, but I think we go get into it on what he
What
did
he did
off the
off the
court.
court.
We talk
Mm.
Exactly.
about
I
Muhammad
agree
Ali
100%.
being the greatest, not because he lost 5 times. Now let's not forget that.
Hmm.
But what do we all talk about? He refused to go to Vietnam, and
Yep.
we all backed him for that back in the day.
Hmm.
I mean,
And
Bill
Bill
Russell, go ahead,
Russell
and we're gonna
was
talk about
sitting
his
right in the
legacy
front seat.
right
Yep.
there.
Bill Russell was sitting right in the front seat backing Muhammad Ali on that decision.
Yep,
Bill Russell was there. And
he
for
was there.
me, that is what makes him the GOAT for me. You're right.
Yes.
Not just what he did on the court, but what he's done off the court. He's
Mhm.
made such a contribution, period. Not just to sports, but to the culture and to society. So
Yes.
that's what makes him more of a GOAT to me.
Yeah. He sat with Jim Brown, another civil rights activist.
Hmm.
Um, right when Muhammad Ali was making, they were right there to support him. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, all of them were
Was
sitting
right
right
there
there
with him.
supporting
Hmm.
him.
Yeah.
The things he had to go through, talking about Michael was in a harder era. We all know the story. Bill Russell, when he was not on the court, had his house broken into and feces
Hmm.
spread all over his house. I mean, come on,
Hmm.
that's not a hard era. Come
I
on.
don't think you know what I
The
know?
FBI watching him?
The people who say that don't really know what the hard era was. Because
Hmm.
the 60s and the early 70s, that was some hard eras
Right
for
after
an
Jim Crow.
African American,
Right after
period.
that. Yes,
So it's usually someone that don't know nothing about the era saying that.
exactly. So I'm just gonna say this: if there is a GOAT, it'll be Bill Russell. That's just my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Anyway, Bill
I
Russell was a
second.
great man, and I'm so sorry for his passing. I just want to
Yes, we,
put
we
that out
want
that
to
he
say
may
rest
rest
in
in peace,
peace. Yeah.
please.
Rest in
Yes.
peace, and to his family, our prayers
Mhm.
go your way, and to his friends and fans, as we are his fans as well. Let's rally around his family, give him their privacy, and just love and support that man. As would be expected.
Yes.
All right, moving right along. Oscar, this is gonna be all for you. You're gonna have to share this one with everybody. Tell us about this thing about virtual sports.
I've had occasion to see it blossom. I mean, I got a nephew that is all over, not necessarily sporting, but he plays Fortnite. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, gaming just as a sector of
Mm-hmm.
the economy is such that okay, people are buying the games. That would be good enough. But people are buying the games, and then people are watching people. Like they have Twitch, where you can just
Mm-hmm.
go on and watch other people play video games. Now, I used to do that because I mean, I checked out of video games around like Super Nintendo, and stuff. So Um, they would laugh me out of any gaming arena. But these things are so serious. They have the bravado and the get in your face mentality of football.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a clip. It was hilarious. I wished I'd have saved it. I wished I had it queued up. But they had these three boys, and whatever you think a gamer is, yeah, them three boys were exactly that. And they
Mm-hmm.
had three other boys, and they were both playing in the room, but they were all facing the same direction. So
Mm-hmm.
think like a classroom with computers.
Mm-hmm.
And they were three teams of 3-on-3. As soon as they won, the victors stood up, the people that lost stood up, and whatever a nerd fight looks like, I thought that's what it was about to be. So
Not a
just
nerd
imagine
fight.
somebody the likes of a Simeon Rice or Warren Sapp,
Mhm.
getting in the face of gosh,
Somebody's
what's his name?
grandchild.
Reggie
Yeah.
White. Like,
Look, look.
getting in Reggie White's face and saying, let's get it done. Okay, the nerd
Wow,
equivalent
that's
of
too
that
funny. That
was
is too
what
funny.
happened. Now, that kind of energy, people wanting to watch that, you say,
Uh-huh.
okay, is that going to be a burgeoning fan base
Right.
thing? And it turns out it is. So
Mm-hmm.
much so that the sponsors and the makers of these games are willing to pay several $1 million to the people who win these. If
Mm-hmm.
you can generate millions, you got yourself a franchise of something. And
Mm-hmm.
if there's a chance of winning and losing, you have yourself a sport.
Mm-hmm.
ESPN
Mm-hmm.
broadcasts ping pong and poker because it's sport. So now, if you have sport, the thing that struck me and kind of what made me bring it into the sports arena, the
Mm-hmm.
University of Phoenix is a virtual slash online school.
Mhm.
They make enough money to fund a stadium, but the
That
football
is that
team that
something?
plays for them is a pro football team.
Mhm.
So
That is
I'm like,
amazing when you think
yeah,
about that.
where's
Yeah.
the virtual? Now we got the virtual teams. Could the University of Phoenix?
Have
I'm a
a
graduate of
virtual thing,
Capella University.
another virtual school.
Walden University. There's any number of online schools that they have students worldwide. We're
Wow.
doing this virtually. Why not have a virtual gaming, situation? And it doesn't have to be football or anything sports related, but something that involves sport
Right.
that people can play, that you can recruit for and have that same energy. You
Mhm.
already saw the almost, well, you didn't see, but I just told you about the almost nerd fight over Fortnite.
Right.
Um, you
Oh no,
know,
let me tell you something. The
come
history
on,
of
that
Fortnite,
energy.
Fortnite has caused a lot of crime. You know,
Yeah.
children have done damage to their parents behind Fortnite. You
Mhm.
know, let somebody's mother take that daggone video game away. Them kids have lost their minds.
See,
Yes.
I
So
want all that smoke. I want not only the kids going head up with the kids, but
you
I
want that
want the
smoke,
mama
huh?
in the background saying, "Turn that thing off because
Mhm.
it's
Turn it
time to do
off.
your homework." And that kid saying, "Mama, I'm in the championship. Settle down." And then watch mama come into that room with the bag of the shoe. I want all of
Listen,
that. I'm paying for all of it.
I
I
need that
want
kid
that.
to say, "Mom, shut up! I'm
Yeah.
about to win $100,000." You know,
And then
and wait, and Mama go like this, huh?
then just
Wait,
start
wait.
distorting the screen
Here
and
she
Yep.
go. What did you say? Huh?
Which they ask you just see that shoe
Look,
in
I
front of the
just
look,
see the
screen going back and
I
forth.
just see
look.
Stu. I see a
Like
flash on the
that's what she.
screen.
Here she go.
Just
What
a
did you
flash of
just?
hollering
Huh?
tears. Yeah, exactly that.
Did you say 100,000? Baby, did you need some water? You need a drink? Watch your whole mind change.
All of that. I mean, it's because I got to pay for the whole product. I want to see it.
And
You
Now
Oscar,
know.
you know
those
I met a
gamers are
kid
making
like
that
that.
too, aren't they? They're making
Yes,
60, a
I was
hundred
gonna
thousand
say I
dollars.
met a
Huh.
guy about 3 years ago up at the Brave when they just had built the Brave Stadium up there at the new stadium. I met a young man and his girlfriend, and he was very modest. He didn't say anything, but his girlfriend sure told me everything. I'm like, so where you guys headed to? She was like, oh, my boyfriend, he just won a championship for this video game thing, and he got like 100,000. I'm like, what?
Yep.
She's like, yeah, so we're just gonna go get something to eat now because he's all finished. And I was like, I've been watching him play all day, but he won like 150,000. I was like, and I'm like you, I'm like, they win that kind of money playing video games? She said, oh yeah, that was the top prize was 150,000, and my boyfriend won. I'm like,
Mm.
well, I get well, all right. Well,
Now,
okay.
Here's where I can put the nerd and the moment to it in a nice little bow. I don't want to solve the problem, but just consider this, because I mean I'm part like Iron Man futurist with this thing.
Okay.
Um, we're concerned about concussions, CTE,
Hmm.
Mhm.
the
It's real.
very nature of combat sports.
Hmm.
So you got boxing, MMA, football, uh, basketball. It's not the same like 70s and 80s, but it's still got some, some
Some
combative
concussions
elements
happen.
there.
Yeah.
It can
Yeah,
Some
happen. Yeah,
concussions,
elbows to
things
the,
happen.
some
it can happen.
concussions still happen.
If
Yeah.
we take it virtual and we can make it a compelling product,
Hmm.
we
It
don't
will.
have the injuries,
It will eliminate the
but we got
injuries.
we got the money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
I mean, and there's infinite possibilities, and then extend the career. Like a baseball player can play about 20 years.
Hmm.
Some
Hmm.
have played about 20 years.
Hmm.
How long can a virtual player play?
Till they get carpal tunnel.
It's basically.
And then what's more, who's to say if I create an avatar, like a Neo in the Matrix,
Hmm.
that could last for like 80, 90 years. Just, hey, my son is going to play the avatar now,
Hmm.
and become that star. And so now you're more concerned about the character in the game. There's a prime time that has played football for 100 years in this environment.
Hmm.
It's down the road, but I think that all of this gaming, the way that we passively consume entertainment,
Hmm.
and the
Hmm.
way that real like sports is, like, we're going to take a lot of danger out of life. We're going to take a lot of reality out of reality, and we're going to
Hmm.
put a lot of reality into virtual.
Hmm.
This could be like the holodeck on Star Trek,
Wow.
and then all of a sudden we're playing football in virtual and nobody's getting hurt. I mean, it's there now. We got to deal with, I mean,
It's there.
these
You
killer
know,
cheat,
it's
like a
there.
quarterback starts looking like me instead of like,
Well, I think it's there, like you're saying. I mean,
it's
when you
there.
watch some of these guys, they are so serious about NBA Y2K, and they are so serious about these games. These are grown men, not even the
That's right.
kids. I'm talking about the grown men. So I just think that that's already here. All right, well, guys, I don't know. We gotta have to see that. That is really something to be thought about. Because, like I said, in my mind, it's already here. And even the monetizing part of it, there's a lot of money going on right now
A
with
lot of
these
money.
virtual games. So we're gonna see what happens. All right, we're gonna move right along to our last topic for the night. And guys, it's gonna be a tough one. So we're gonna talk about Mr. Deshaun Watson. And of course, we know that this week he received his punishment for his uh, conduct. The NFL
That's a
did
word
not
for it.
approve of his conduct. Um, so because of his conduct, that is what. And see, this is what people have to understand. He didn't get charged because of a crime. First
No.
of all, he got charged because of his conduct. He got charged because of something he did and how it looks to the NFL. Not that a crime was committed or charged, but how his conduct appeared to the NFL. So let's talk about that, because I have a lot of people that have a lot to say about that, and I want to hear you guys' thoughts. Which one of you want to go first? You let me know. I don't care.
Yeah, and I'm definitely interested in hearing a woman's perspective on it. When
I
the
got
punishment when the punishment came down, I was somewhat okay with it because, as you explained, when this
you.
all started, two grand juries decided not to indict him.
Mm-hmm.
There was not enough evidence to do so, or whatever it was their reasons were.
Right.
Criminal case thrown out. Now we get to the civil situations. What he decided to
Which
do
we
was
know what
settle.
civil
Yeah,
means. Civil
we know
means
civil means money. Okay. So he
right.
decided to settle with 24 out of 25 women that accused him of sexual
Hmm.
misconduct or whatever, sexual actual violence, actually, is what I want to
Hmm.
say. A lot of people think, well, you settle, that means you're guilty. Well,
Right.
sometimes when you settle, you just want to get it past you. And look, I ain't even going through court. I ain't doing nothing. I got
Not
money.
only that,
Just go
I'd
away.
like to
Go
get
away.
back on with my
Get
life,
back with my
because right now
life.
my life is
Okay.
on hold.
So, me, I'm not going to say anything about innocence or guilt, just facts. That's what happened. So now here we are. What did he violate? Hattie, you just said it. The NFL's code of conduct.
Conduct.
For that reason, the six
Hmm.
games seems to be okay, even though the underlying reason we all understand
Hmm.
what it was that violated the code of conduct. But
Hmm.
there is
Hmm.
technically no evidence that we know of. There are some accusations, but we're talking about the court of law.
Right.
I think it's fair for code of conduct violation. And I get it.
Okay.
Some
Exactly.
people are mad because Josh Gordon been smoking weed since he was born. Apparently, the man just cannot stop. Right? He got 20
Yeah.
something games. That didn't hurt nobody but himself, really. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Or
Yeah.
alcohol too.
Yes,
Um,
but how many times has he been
oh, like
fined with that? You see what I'm saying? So there
it's
is
like
no
infinity at this
comparison.
point. Infinity at this
There's
point.
no comparison. It's not like it's the same thing.
Hmm.
Look at how many
It's not.
times they've caught him.
It's not. And then
You know.
one of the local boys here, Calvin Ridley for the Atlanta Falcons, all he did was
Hmm.
put 1,500 on an NFL parlay. He got 20 something games. So a lot of people trying to compare
There's no
these
comparison.
infractions. No, code of conduct, regardless of what it is. It wasn't even the NFL that did it, by the way. It was an arbitrator. It was a third party who said, you know what, I'm
Who
looking
was
through
a
everything.
judge?
Judge
Who
Sue
was a
Robinson, I believe her name,
female judge?
female judge. She
Hmm.
said his behavior was egregious, but it's code of conduct violation. We are not trying
Right.
sexual harassment, all that stuff
It's
here.
right.
Code of
Right.
conduct. So
And
for
I
me,
appreciate her for
I
that.
think it's 6 games is fair for the what he's being, punished for.
All
Code of
right,
conduct
Oscar.
violation. Throw it on the
Anything you want to
Oscar.
add to that?
Um, no, it seems like y'all are all over it. I just think that when there's that kind of money involved,
Hmm.
and I mean the NFL above everything else is a marketing organization.
It's a money. It's a business.
It is money.
It's a
You know, the
business.
whole reason that I'm into collegiate athletics, they burnt down Tuscaloosa twice and still roll tide. You can't get rid
Roll
of them. That
Tide.
is loyalty.
Uh-huh.
However, I used to follow the Houston Oilers, which we don't have anymore
Mm-mm.
Right.
because money. Somebody said, "Hey, Houston, let's go to Tennessee where there is no oil,"
But
because
there's some money
money.
over there.
So then money is the most important thing. When you start messing with a money organization's money in any way, you got to
You
kiss the
you
ring,
gonna pay.
and you'll pay the ultimate price. Now, what I've seen in the league is they have a self-correcting mechanism. If you go too far for too long, you end up being what's Johnny Football? Texas A&M cat used to
Manziel,
have the
Johnny
money.
Manziel.
Johnny Manziel. You
Hmm.
get Manziel'd out. It's like, okay, well, you won't stop the behavior. There's only so much we can do to punish you, but this
Before we
money thing
just
will figure
put
itself
you
out.
down, lay you out to pasture.
Exactly.
'Cause that's what
Versus,
they did to him.
remember when Mike Vick was a pariah? But Mike Vick got with Herm Edwards. He got with a team, and they said, you know what? I'm good. I'm gonna be good, even though I wasn't there. Even though there was some other people that was under my auspices, and they should have took that charge. But
Right.
beside that,
Even though y'all didn't find any evidence against me,
that's right.
somebody else said I did it, and
That's
y'all
right.
took
It
their
was just at
word
a
for it.
house that I owned. However, I'm going
Hmm.
to be a good little boy, and I'm going to have a second and almost third career
Hmm.
because I'm going to bend the knee and kiss the ring.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so then he got to retire, and he got to counsel like other football players
Yeah.
Hmm.
versus somebody who don't learn. Deshaun is at a crossroads.
Yeah.
And I mean, Deshaun was playing with Clemson back when they would whoop it up on Alabama. So I'm torn.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
You say,
Once they
yeah,
go pro, all is forgiven.
Okay.
I want Super QB to do well. I want the kid to get everything due him plus. But he's got a decision to make, and he's right at that threshold of youth. Brittany Griner young, but you're gonna have to grow up and make some decisions. I hope that he makes some better decisions with his behaviors, and I actually hope, even though it falls just short of victim shaming, these
mhm.
people who are with him maybe don't take his contract. Say it, or don't. Yeah, don't. Just don't. Let somebody else do his massages for him
Right.
if that's going to be the
You
case.
know,
So
and here's my other thing. I tell people this also. Let's not forget the fact that how many passes did he make last year? None.
Well,
He didn't
none.
play last year.
He didn't play.
None.
I'm
So
sitting there
he's
trying to think of
already
stats.
missed. He has already missed an entire year.
Yeah.
So they're worried about
See,
6 games this year. He ain't played not in their game last year. How many
I
games is it? How many
mm,
games is it? 15.
17 in a
Okay,
regular
so
season. Yeah.
he has already missed 17 games, and now we're adding 6 more on in the next year. Come on, guys, don't act like
mm.
y'all don't know that. He is
It's
already.
tough though. It's tough though
How's it
because
tough? He
the
did not play.
NFL, in that regard, it's not necessarily a "what have you done for me lately" type of league. It's a "what do I think you could still do for me"
Hmm.
And
type
I
of
get that.
situation. And
I get
he
that.
hasn't thrown a pass, but I don't know anybody who's going to. Well, there's very few teams like outside of Tampa Bay who are going to pass on Deshaun if he's on
Well,
the table. And he
here's my
ain't, like you
thing.
said, he ain't played a down in a whole year. But
No, but here's my thing.
he's still a
My
beast.
my thing still is that I'm not talking about him playing for anybody. I'm talking about the punishment. He has not played a game
I see what you're
in
saying. Okay, all right.
in a whole year. You act like 6 games is all he missed. He has
Yeah,
missed
okay, got it.
a
Okay.
whole lot of games.
Understood.
So that's the problem I have with people saying it was only 6 games. Excuse me. What about last year?
True.
That's a whole year
That's
he
true.
missed. So
Uh-oh.
go ahead.
Hattie, you
Go
got to be
ahead.
careful
Go
because the
ahead.
same people who said Trump came out against Griner are going to
Mhm.
come out and say that you just came out against, women's rights and didn't say that Deshaun should be more punished.
I listen.
Mm-mm.
I did not say this Deshaun should be more punished. I didn't say that. Here's my thing. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not a fan of massages and going to pay somebody to rub on me. Okay, I'm just being honest. I am not a fan of going somewhere and paying somebody to rub on me. That's just me. So I'm not a fan of massages in the first place. So
Gotcha.
I'm not a fan of the women who choose that as a career, but that's your business. And I'm not a fan of the men who choose that as a pastime, but that's your business. So I'm not a fan either way. So I'm not going to judge either one. So I'm not judging him because that's what he likes, and I'm not judging them because that's what they like to do. Now, I tease people all the time, my male friends, and I'll come right out and say it. It's like, oh, I'm going to go get a massage. I said, are you going to get a happy ending? And they were like, "Oh, happy." I'm like, don't act like that ain't what happens. I know it could possibly happen. You know what I'm saying?
Woo. Hmm.
Again, I'm just being honest and being real. So, and like when I said it to another friend, he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was late. I went and got a massage. Did you get a happy ending?" He's like, "How do you live it?" I'm like, so, so I say all that to say that you know it's possible.
What's happening to this
We know,
show?
we
I
know
was
that
just
it
about to say we
happens.
just changed sports.
No,
Damien, the sport just became tug of war. Uh,
listen, we know it's possible. We know
Yes,
it
it's possible.
happens. We
yeah,
know it
it's,
happens.
it's more than possible. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
And we know it happens. And we're not going to judge the doer or the receiver. And that's my stance on it. I'm not judging the doer or the receiver. Now, like you said, when the courts came back and said we don't see a crime that was here. Okay, now when it first happened, I'm like, well, gosh, what did he do? Like
Mhm.
everybody else, what did he do? That's what I said. I wanted to know what went wrong with a massage. you know,
Mm,
Mhm.
that's what I'm like. What went wrong? you know, okay. But when the jury came back and said, okay, we didn't find any wrongdoings, I think, okay, now I feel a little bit better because I'm thinking, did something happen that like was way over there
sure,
somewhere? Because we didn't know. So
sure.
when all of that came out and they went to trial and all of that got thrown that out, I was done with it at that point. I really was. Now I know that there have been rape victims who said they got raped and the man said it was consensual. I get all of that. I
Mhm.
understand that. But I have to, like you said, I have to go with the facts that were presented. I have to go with the decision that was made. We weren't there. It is a he said, she said right now. That's exactly what
No,
it is.
it's a he said, she 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 said. You get the point.
They all said,
Right. And then hashtag me too. So I
and then
mean,
me too,
Yes.
yeah.
and then
Me
too.
too. Hmm.
But again, I'm like, again, y'all. The next person that says 6 games to me, I'm like, did you not watch that season?
Man.
Did not make a pass
Hmm.
last season, not one for a whole season. Y'all act like that year didn't exist. 2021. You act like maybe the NFL didn't play.
Fair
They
point.
played.
Fair point.
He didn't. So he's already missed 17 games. And now there's 6 more. And I'm just being fair. I'm just being fair. That's it. He's already missed. Now, like you said, we don't know what kind of shape he in now. He just sat around and for a whole year, he hasn't made a pass. That shoulder could be done. His career could
Mm,
be over. And then, like Michael Vick, there are people that are not going to forgive him for this. There are
yeah.
fans that are just not going to let it go. So his career is, but I see when that owner did it, ain't nobody said another word about that.
Yes, Mr. Robert Kraft of the Patriots. He got himself a tugging, rub and tug, whatever you call that thing, and
Yeah, yeah. Tug of war.
I
That's
call
right.
it a wash and wax, but
okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I call it a
Hashtag
wash and
wash
wax.
and wax. That's
But
got to
but
go
you know
viral.
what? He got his hands spanked and he went
Mhm.
on back and kept owning his team. You
Look,
know?
we need to go ahead and just make this all fair and square. Can
Okay.
we get Kaepernick a couple of massages? Is that what we need
Yeah,
to? I think
maybe.
that's only fair
Yeah,
for everything that Kaepernick he took one knee. Can we get somebody to take 2 knees? I mean, yeah, come on, let's be fair here.
Do you think that would help right now?
Um, no,
I
no.
uh,
don't need.
it
I don't think it's gonna help
just
either.
sounded better up here. Sorry,
Uh,
sorry.
That's funny
uh,
though. Deshaun gets 6 games for code of conduct violation. Kaepernick got 5 years for bending a knee.
well,
Bending a knee
Suspension. I'm doing suspension in quotes because he's
in
obviously been
honor.
listen. Well,
blackballed
we
out of the
already
league.
know the quotes is what did it. The
Hmm.
bending of the knee ain't what did it. It's the quote.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
Uh,
because I
So
mean, and he went to the military he was like, okay, what is the
mhm.
honorable way I can do this? And the military said, take a knee. It's what
yep,
we do.
Yeah.
So
that's
he
what we
not
do.
only like didn't do anything wrong, he did the right thing by the folks
He
who everybody says he's spitting on, and he's got
he
5 years behind him, and he's
he
in
he,
shape.
he asked. Yeah, he asked.
Yeah,
And but like I say, it's not about that bending knee. It was about that mouth of his. It was about them not being able to. It's like, okay, we're not gonna be able to silence this guy. That's
no,
it. It's a done deal. Now, and again, we go back to what you were saying. It's a business,
it
and I
is.
always tell people, be honest. Put yourself in the shoes of the owner of a team. What would you do if it was your team, your quarterback, causing these kind of disturbances that are considered disturbances, black or white? It's your team. What would you do? And I tell people all the time, don't just point the finger. Look at it if you were in the position of the owner. What would you have done differently? Most people don't answer. Do you guys have an answer? What would you have done?
Mm,
What I think is just in general, and quick thoughts on it if you like. The NFL does have a habit of it is a business and they have a product to put out there and they want to put out the best product they can, which
It's a
means, and we've
business.
seen a lot of this, including with Deshaun and Michael Vick and a lot of others, Ray Rice, whoever it is you want to name, talent
Mhm.
seems to outweigh trouble or trump trouble.
absolutely.
I hate that name, Trump, but talent trumps trouble.
Mhm.
If you can play, okay, you done shoplifted, you done this a few things, that's okay. We'll overlook that because you can throw a ball 80 yards in the air, right? So your character doesn't mean too much when you're trying to put the best product out there. And the NFL's
Now,
done a lot too much of
unless
that.
look, unless you run your mouth too much, because they feel
Yeah.
like they can't shut your mouth, they can't do.
Well,
It's a done deal. It ain't about the
there's
talent
a
no
teeter
more.
totter scale. I think it was who was the Ravens coach? Was it Billick back in the day?
I think it was
Belichick,
Bill. No,
Bell was
Belichick.
it?
No, it was a
Billick. I think it was
Billick. It
Billick.
was Billick.
Billick,
Yeah,
Yes.
Billick,
he
Hmm.
talked about because he had Ray Lewis back when
Ray
he had
Lewis.
them charges in
Yeah,
Atlanta and
remember he
stuff
was a
like that.
murder thing going on?
Right,
Yes.
Right.
right,
He
right.
talked about talent and tolerance. So
Hmm.
there is a breaking point for both. But he
Yep.
said himself in the 60 minutes, I think it was 60 minutes, he said, if you have a high degree of talent,
Hmm.
I and the organization have a high degree of tolerance.
Hmm.
Now
Exactly.
it's high degree, it's not limitless.
Hmm.
But
It's just
here's
a
the
high
flip
degree.
side. If you ain't high degree, if you're not Deshaun
Right.
Or Ben Roethlisberger.
or Ben Roethlisberger, yeah, now Ben Roethlisberger made the kind of trouble where he can come down to Eatonton, Georgia, like restroom at a podunk club in Eatonton, Georgia, and it's making newspapers. He did that kind
Listen,
of rabble rousing, but he got a cannon for an arm and he could take a lick.
Hmm.
He could take a lick and he'll stay in the
he
pocket
was
on the
big
seven
enough.
step
He
drop.
was big enough. He was big
But
enough to
that's
take a
what I'm
leak
saying.
and
That's what it all came to.
listen. And you know what else? The team rallies behind who they want to rally behind. Back to
Look,
what
yeah,
you were saying. That
yeah.
level of tolerance, who they really want to rally behind. Look at the Raiders. The Raiders have years and years
Oh
of,
man.
that's my squad
I
though.
mean,
Don't get me wrong.
they just
Yeah.
need
Don't
to
get me
change
wrong.
their
I'm down with
uniforms
the
to
black and
pinstripes,
I'm
basically.
down with the black and silver
Henry
all day
Ruggs.
long.
I
But
mean, man.
I'm down with the black and
And I
Woo.
silver
mean the
all day
jail
long.
pinstripes, not the Yankees. No,
Ooh,
that's what they
I
I'm
need.
down
can't
with
get
that.
down on the
Listen,
Raiders.
but it was their
Shout out to
owner. It was their owner. He was like, "Look, I need him on the field on Sunday."
Yeah.
a
Like, what do you think, Oscar?
Again,
Say, Henry Ruggs, who had the DUI and he actually killed somebody, the receiver for the Raiders. You remember that?
I
This
know
was just last,
roll
yeah,
tide,
Henry Ruggs.
roll tide.
Um,
Yeah.
Say it was just a DUI, maybe he just did some property damage and no one died. Would he still be playing as a Raider right now?
yeah,
Would he have been all
yeah,
forgiven because he's
yes,
talented? He'd be a Raider
yes,
right now. Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
That's the
yes,
problem I'm
That
talking
is
about.
that's the
yeah,
scale. And I
Hmm.
mean
yeah.
I have to I tread lightly only because a good friend and mentor of mine, Jay Force, is a Raiders like yeah, he's as Raiders as my brother is Falcons. And so
Hey,
then I know it
I'm
causes
with
him
him.
great pain, to talk about the Raiders in that light. But
The
it's a
black and
talent
silver.
tolerance teeter. And so if you break the scale, you break the scale, and loss of life breaks the scale most times.
Yeah.
It does.
Because
Yes.
didn't with Ray Lewis, but
Well,
hey,
listen again.
Well, yeah, Ray,
If you
go ahead.
follow the trial and you follow the trial and you follow the facts, they went after Ray. They didn't follow the facts. They followed the money. And
mm,
that's why they lost. They didn't follow the facts, they
gotcha.
followed the money. So they thought in following the money, hey, we got this guy. So they never followed the facts. By the time it was all said and done, there were no facts to prove he did anything. So you know what? No one ever got charged with that case because they spent 3 years trying to make somebody guilty that wasn't guilty. So by the time I followed that case, and by the time it was all said and done, it was worse than the OJ case, honey. It was worse.
Wow.
They had nothing. He had so many alibis. It made no sense at all. And but what they did, they went after the money. So after it was all said and done, his family felt like, oh, he got away with murder. That's not what happened. He was gone. And when the murder happened. And by the time they figured that all out, it was too late to start looking for somebody else
Mm,
because they went after the money, not
You're
after the
right.
facts. But
yeah.
anyway, I want to say, guys, thank you so much for taking this time. This has been very rewarding for me. You have
I'm
no
glad.
idea how much. I have thoroughly enjoyed you guys for coming on, Ladies in the Locker Room. You're both welcome to come back in any time. Ladies in the Locker Room is an all-female sports talk show, but we never say we're women who know everything about sports. We just know the men who do. So that's why you guys are invited on at any time. We love to invite our guys on to talk to us about sports and help us and give us knowledge. And Oscar, thank you again for the the knowledge about the virtual sports because that's what this is all about. We're all getting ready for football season. I just want to know what you guys' picks are for this season before you go.
Wow.
Mm.
Okay. Well, football season to me is college football season. So much
Okay.
so I didn't get a chance to Okay, I gotta get this right. This is my replica jersey from Waterboy.
Okay.
Okay.
The,
Okay.
the movie that Adam Sandler was in, some
Yeah,
Go Mud
yeah.
Dogs. That's my
Mhm.
imaginary team. My real
Okay.
team, Roll Tide.
Roll
I
Tide.
think Alabama comes back, and thanks for holding that trophy, Georgia. Make sure that that's polished back up. Got to bring that on back to Tuscaloosa now. You had your fun, and we gave you two coaches to get it done. So bring that on back to us.
They gave you two
So that's
coaches,
my
huh?
prediction. I don't have a dog in the fight for the pros. Oh, before I go though, y'all come. How do we do this? There it is. Oh my talking head. I'm gonna start podcasting there soon. There's a comic strip already on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay.
If you check that out, it is not sports talk. It is some cerebral, out of this world stuff. And the talk that we're doing, I'd invite you guys on there to see just how nerdy a nerd can get.
Oh my
There and
God.
stuff.
Right.
Yeah, but I think it's esoteric conversation that you'd enjoy. There, it
You
put a
say
different
just
slice
how
of life.
nerdy a nerd can get.
How it's out there. It's out there, but I mean, it's hard to get, but you'll get it. You'll get it. I think
It's hard to
everybody will.
get, but you'll get it.
You'll get it. Yeah.
Well, again, I want to thank you guys so much for taking the
I
time.
didn't get my
Like,
NFL prediction.
He didn't get
yes,
his. Yeah, he didn't get
I
his.
need, I need it. I need to
It'll
hear
be
your NFL
quick. It'll
prediction.
be quick.
Okay, go ahead.
NFC, I am feeling the Rams to repeat again. Go ahead and get back
Okay,
to the dance. And then
okay,
I got to back him. That's my boy, Josh Allen, Buffalo.
okay.
Gonna make it
Hmm.
onto the dance. All right.
Okay.
The way too early predictions. I have the right to reserve my,
You do.
judgment on changing.
This is your early prediction. I'm not holding
Exactly.
it to you for the end of the season.
That's
This
right.
is your
Okay.
early prediction. But hey, some people have called it from the beginning. What
That's right.
about you, Oscar? Do you have an early prediction?
For the league, I don't have pro teams. I checked out of the league when we lost the Houston Oilers.
You just checked out.
So it's like I checked out when everybody was boycotting the NFL for cap. I said, yeah, boycott the NFL. See, it was easy for me because
Ah, okay,
wasn't watching. I root for Atlanta because my brother roots for Atlanta. But I
okay.
will tell people that the one thing that Atlanta does, the worst thing that Atlanta gives its fans is hope. So I just, yeah, I feel bad in that regard. But go Falcons.
He said the
Mm-mm.
worst thing they
Let's
give
That's
try
him
it
is hope.
bad.
again. Yeah, I'm just
Okay,
saying.
okay. Well, let me tell you. First of all, of course, you know I'm from the state of New Jersey, which is where the New York Giants play. They're called the New York Giants, but they play in New Jersey.
New
So I'm
Jersey.
a whole, I'm a long time New York Giants fan. However, I was an Odell Beckham fan. I like so much individual talent around the league. It's hard for me to have a team anymore because I'm watching everybody everywhere. And I have to honestly say that now the Falcons, I root for the Falcons. That's my home team. I'm here in Atlanta. I always want them to do well. Um, and I love their draft pick. I'm really, like I said, I'm looking for good things from him. And Cordell had a great season last year. I'd like to see him have another good season. Calvin, they missed him last year, but I think they're going to fill that void this year. They're adding some receivers and they're building up some of the guys to step in. I don't think Calvin Ridley will have a place on the Falcons after his sentencing is up. I think that they're just going to really be done with him. He did good for a while, and he was a good player. But the history of the Atlanta Falcons, when they done with you, they done with you. Just ask Michael Vick. I don't care how good you was. When they done with you, listen. I'm gonna do it like the girls I had. When they done with you, they done with you.
I see you
Okay.
grabbing air. I see that.
Yeah,
You
grabbing
know,
air.
this is the way the girls
Bringing it
down in that.
down. Right.
This is the way Atlanta do it. When they done with you, they done with you. Calvin, I think they done with you. So when he finishes little sentencing, they're gonna be done with him. And that's to
Mm.
me that I've never seen lack of honor like I see here. Like I said, I come from the state of New Jersey, and we didn't have a dome. Rain, sleet, hail, or snow, football games, we were still gonna go. I don't know how we went. I don't know how I sat out there in the cold and watched the game, but I did. Here, you're right. They don't have a lot of faith, and I just believe that that's what's missing sometimes. It's got to have some more faith in the team. So, but I'm looking forward to it, and I want to see how they're going to do without Matt Ryan because these fair weather friends they blame every loss on Matt Ryan. Okay, now he gone. Now you mad. Well, you didn't want him here, so make up your mind.
Hmm.
But that's the way Atlanta Falcon fans are. Oh, Matt Ryan sucked. That's all I would hear every week. Oh, Matt Ryan sucked. Matt Ryan sucked. I'm like, well, I was in love with Michael Vick, so whatever. So now he gone. Oh, Matt Ryan's gone. But you didn't like him anyway. So I'm just curious to see how they're going to do without Matt Ryan because now they blamed everything on him. He choked, is what the fans used to say. Um, we'll see what happens. I want to see these rookies step up. I love football. I'm going up to the training camp. I've been doing that for years. I went to the training camp for the New York Giants. I'll be going to the training camp for the Falcons. I'm that involved in football. That's my favorite sport. I love to see the rookies come in. I like to see them hungry rookies come in and make a name for themselves. That's what makes the game really exciting for me. When those hungry rookies come in, they got to make a name for themselves. That's when you see some good playing. Some of them, get so complacent and they just think the ball coming to them. No, baby, you got to go get that ball. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do. Like I said, I root for the Falcons. I'm here, and I like the black and red, and we'll see what happens. But I still watch my blue. I watch my big blue wrecking crew. But as I said, I am all over them. My son will be the one to tell you she all over the place. Yeah, I am. I am. All right, guys. We're gonna sign off tonight. I want to give a shout out to my boy Rodney Harrell. Rodney Harrell has a walk coming up before we leave tonight. He has a 5K walk coming up in September the 17th. And we will have Rodney Harrell on the show, on our next show, talking about this 5K. He is Rodstar Entertainment, and Rodstar, he works with a lot of the NFL veterans and the NBA veterans, and he has a lot of different fundraisers. So he has a 5K walk run coming up in September. He'll be one of my guests next week, and so we'll see what happens. All right, Rodney, got to get you on the show next week. All right, guys, you have a great evening. Thank you so much for hanging out on Ladies in the Locker Room. Any closing remarks?
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll
Roll,
Tide says it all.
go Bills.
Go,
There you go.
There
There
we
you
go.
go.
Go Raiders, the black and silver. Let me get the black and red, and let me get the big blue wrecking crew. Like I said, I'm all over the place. I'll be rooting for them all. You guys have
Rooting
a
for the
good night. Thank
felons. All right. Have a good night.
Absolutely. Hashtag happy endings.
you.
Yeah.
Happy endings. Hashtag happy endings. Good night, guys.
All right. Good night.
Night, y'all.